This episode of Campus Talk is proudly sponsored by Murphy's Kitchen, your go to spot for delicious pizza, juicy burgers, and refreshing drinks that hit the spot every time. From our sizzling chicken barbecue pizza and roasted pork peri peri pizza to the all time favorite chicken cheeseburger combo and signature mojitos. There's something for every craving. So grab yours today from Marpi's Kitchen at Maulai Putmori or enjoy the comfort of home delivery made easy and fast just for you. Marpi's Kitchen, where good food brings people together.
Performances are very low. There is lack of concentration in the classroom. The attention span is very low.
Kawat lam alyang serti mo ba nang turu nap kasyong happy nong bad people non kam kum no.
This is the reality that we live in. Social media is part of us.
Social media does impact me a lot because when I'm studying, I should be concentrated, but no, I'm not, because every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, I'll try to scroll.
So you have more and more artificial ministers, artificial politicians, artificial president.
Henry habang ipai pa siya sem ngim dot ball banyak keren ye email pala ni ki ben ki para ni ki bahayeng paseng pasem ruwat nadang isyo ga jo kami ba.
The saddest part is that there's a disconnect in my own family. My own children, grandchildren, they are busy with their phones and not with me.
Some of the cases that we have seen erupting in today's world are this digital arrest.
Snagi content kiba donjing mut, snagi content kiba la banwan ra ikajing kala kim lang salang.
As you all know that social media has now become the new playground, the new classroom and the new battlefield for students. So in this discussion we will be talking about the different challenges, the pros and cons of social media and how to use social media responsibly. Thì hỏi cái social media cái là bấn thầm mai cái rukam berkat cái jongi cái rukam berkat jongi kena pulih cái jongi but ikwa ya cái ni cái jongi keren mentas ni ben sngo thu cái ấy bagi kena kipet ya cái social media cái kumno kin pendon kam hok ya cái social media but ha cái no cái rukam cái kata ya cái bor berkat cái jongi là ni kata cái mental health. Today we'll explore not just the impact but the influence, how social media is shaping learning, identity and well-being. So without further ado, I would like to direct the first question to Dr. Karshiyen. Ma'am, as an educator, what is the overall impact of social media on student? Kaya kabapi shem ba ka social media hadu ka no kalakta yagi kena pulih kam tama kabai day but kajing kajing la kajong kiban concentrate kapuli kaputi.
As an educator, dealing with students every day, we have observed that the major impact is in their behavior and in their performance. These two things, behavior and performance. Performance-wise, I think if teachers are here, the principal is here, we would have seen how their grades have come down compared to over the years when social media was not was not happening. And performances are very low. There is lack of concentration in the classroom. The attention span is very low. All right? And we also find that other behavioral issues such as some students are very aggressive. That is one behavior that we see, that students are very aggressive, and even if we tend to speak or counsel, okay, regarding certain behavioral issues which could have been related to too much of social media addiction, I can say that, okay, they tend to ignore what teachers speak to them, all right, continue to do what they do, and are not mindful in the classroom. All right? So these are the issues that we see. We have also observed that there has been reduced of cognitive thinking skills among students, which is very important at the school level. Although there may have been creativity in terms of social networking and creating contents by some of the students themselves. But when we talk about creativity in terms of learning, in terms of education, they lack in that area. We have had also, as educators, not just in my own institution, but in my discussion with other, heads and teachers, that cyberbullying is one thing that our own students are experiencing, and we, the teachers and administrators, have to deal with it, in fact, almost every day.
Thank you, Dr. Kashim. Ni sotho ba kung bay batay i Dr. ba habang iyon no job bagi sinam balalet bagi sinam mentang i ka jingdu na ha ka karukom perkhat lani ka jingnang jingtip hapdeng ki khna puli na marba ila mention ru halo kanika screen addiction and social media addiction. And you had also mentioned about aggression among the students, which is why I'm going to direct the next question to Kong Aibat. As a psychologist, ma'am, since Dr. Karshian also mentioned about cyberbullying, and we understand that the person who is a victim must be going through a terrible state of mind. So have you ever countered such instances where a student or students are affected by such cases like cyberbullying, and how does social media affect the emotional and mental state of a student?
Let me go first with the cyberbullying. Yes, we do have a lot of cases these days from different schools. And it's not just students who have social media accounts, it's the ones who don't have social media accounts also getting bullied on social media. And I feel like it's more intense. Social media bullying, banyak traditional bullying. Namarba, it's 24/7. You're exposed to it. In the morning you get comments, you get likes. In the evening, during school, you meet these people who bully you. And in the evening also, you see the comments, the likes, and you see what's getting posted there. So the effect is 24/7. Mde kumba, shale he hadong ne shale he hasnong ne haskul, where it's just haskul ben and then shale cheyang pila kalat pila ikan do de kiwe kipriyo. Henry, it's so impactful and in such a negative way that sometimes it leads to disorders like depression, anxiety, and also suicide ideations. So we have to be very mindful when we're using social media about the words that we use. And to address the second part of your question, how does it emotionally and psychologically affect? To say that it has just negative effects, I would be lying, because I also use social media, So it has some positive effects also. It has some positive impact and some negative impact. It's like what they say in Kasi kawat lam alyang serti mo, ba nang turu nap kasyong hapi nong bat pipenon kam kumno. When we were young, when we were 12 to 18, 21, till about 21, our brains haven't developed enough. The part of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, which is supposed to help you reason, think critically. That part of the brain has not been fully developed in you and in us when we were young. So this is the reason why we have these, what ma'am said, you can't concentrate, you can't think critically. And this is the reason why we have all these problems also, is because at this age you're very impressionable. We don't know how to say, okay, let me stop. It's until and unless an adult says it, that we stop, right? Social media was there when you were born. So you have to understand, that there are certain parts of it that helps you, and there are certain parts of social media that doesn't.
Thank you, ma'am. Like you said, I like the word she mentioned, that social media is like a double-edged sword. It's up to you how you use social media. And she also mentioned about the negative and the positive aspects of social media. So thank you so much, ma'am. Coming to Robert, but as a parent, have you seen any changes in the way your child express himself or herself? And as a parent, can we say that we are equally responsible if our children are, if not 24/7, but most of their time they spend on social media?
Before I answer that question, I think I'll just step back and say, let's look at the reality. Okay, let's accept reality out here. Social media is part and parcel of each and every one of our lives. Okay? We are a country of 1.2, 1.3 billion, 972 million internet users in India, 55% penetration and growing every year. 642 social media users. Okay, average time 2.4 hours. Rural is higher than urban. Okay, if you look at 2014, the price of 1 GB of data was 647. 2024, it was 9 rupees. Right? So it is here. This is the reality that we live in. Social media is part of us. Now, if you to ask me, okay, is social media bad? I would say no. Can social media be bad? The answer is a big yes. Right? So it's how we use it. So when I look at this reality and this tsunami that has overtaken us, part and parcel of our life, and you see it from a parent's perspective. Now, who are the influencers for when we were students? The first influencers are your parents and your teachers, right? They mimic the behavior of their parents, their relatives, or their teachers. Now, if I'm a parent and I hold the phone in my hand and I tell my kid, you cannot use the phone after 9 o'clock, and I sit and I scroll, will that behavior be adapted by my kid? It is the opposite. So it is, I think, the responsibility now, the new responsibility for parenting, okay, to ensure that you mimic the behavior that you want your children to develop. Okay, that is really, really important. Because culture is top down, whether in school, whether at home, whether everywhere. It is not that you get influenced. The main influencers are your parents. So when you ask about my kid, I would answer is yes, because the accessibility is there, right? When you see now when there is a social gathering or when there's a family gathering, most of the kids are either in one room or there's a tab or there is a mobile and they're playing games. They're accessing, okay? That is there. And they'll mimic whoever they see that is there, whether it's on YouTube or the famous idols, the famous footballers, it is there. Because that is the new reality that they're exposed to. Okay, so I see that change. I see that behavior. Now, as a parent or as teachers, I think, what can we do? I think that is where the question lies to say, okay, this is something that we can't fight. This is the reality that is happening. Like I said, it can become dangerous. It can become bad. So how do we go into that realm and say, what can we do, right? For me, especially in schools, I think digital literacy, discipline of social media is as important as sex education to have in school nowadays. It is as important, if not the most important, right? That is number one. Number two, I think schools cannot work in silos and parents work in silos. It has to be a joint effort. Okay, where awareness programs can happen with a joint consultation with parents who say, what is it that you're facing at home and what are we seeing that's happening in school?
Thank you so much, Pak Robert. Like I had mentioned earlier that social media is now the new battlefield, and that you have rightly mentioned that everything starts at home. Thì habe dei hi baga social media ro baro hi kas dang na la yeng la da kum kikmi kapangi ben i gi kola ni bo da kapor ban sha gi kon makin pe social media but ban kmi ban jingo ka e ka bagi pe but kum no ki pelut por nga tharai ni la hi kum ban on te la kam shwa ba kat voice ka jing sniu. It's interesting to hear that perspective from you, Robert. Now, a student's voice is the heart of this discussion. So let's hear from the student himself. Sean, when I say social media, what is the one thing that comes to your mind? And as a student, having, do you feel distracted, when you have your cell phone near you or you have access to different things in the internet?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. And actually, how does it impact me? The question, right? The word social media comes to my mind. So the word social is like connectivity, because most of my friends after high school they had gone out to study Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai. But that's one thing when people say, "Why do you use Snapchat?" I mean, that's only for taking photos. But we do send snaps. I mean, instead of asking on WhatsApp, "What are you doing the entire day?" So we send snaps, pictures of what we're doing the entire day. That's how I connect with my friends. Even though I may not meet them on a regular basis or chat with them because of the time constraint. But then at the same time, the word social media for me really means connectivity. I get to connect to the world from a different perspective. It's how you put, and at the same time, as it has been said by ma'am, that at this age we are impressionable. So we do get good impressions from people, and at the same time, we try to adopt such impressions from everyone else, because like when you see supermodels or any model at all, will be like, oh, that's how they are dressing these days. So that's how I want to look, because nowadays a new term has come out that's called fast fashion. Because you see, people they like to dress out or to dress up. So how do we know all these trends? It's through social media. It's all about connectivity, social media. But at the same time, social media does impact me a lot, because when I'm studying, I should be concentrated. But no, I'm not, because every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, I'll try to scroll. And then I'll be like, and if someone does not send me any messages, I'll be like, why are they not sending me messages? Do they not care about me? I'm just being delusional at some point. Do they not care about me? They should send me messages. I should be distracted by my phone. But then social media at the same time also it does have an impactful, it's a positive impact in the sense that I follow these news pages and most of the accounts, since I love to be let's say I love to visit new food places, food joints. So I follow these food vloggers to know the new place in Shillong. So that is, like through social media, if whatever you're interested in, you follow those accounts. And at the same time, you should also follow the news channels. Follow whatever you like, do whatever you want on social media. It's good, express yourself. But at the same time, also follow these important news pages to know about the world, to know what is going on around in Shillong. Social media isn't about posting yourself or anything. It's about expressing yourself and knowing how to knowing how to direct yourself in the most efficient way. I'll put it in efficient way. And at the same time, I would really, for us to know about cyber crimes and social impacts, is that we should know about our digital footprints, active and passive. These are the two types. So that is something about social media, because social media can be the good and the bad, and most of the times it leads to the ugly also as well. So that is my message and my.
Thank you, Sean. Social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's an interesting perspective we've heard from you, and like you mentioned, that sometimes our comments, and it's important for us to leave good digital footprints. And like Robert had mentioned, that I think the time is right to, to ensure that our students are equipped with digital literacy. So I'll go to Rudy. From your experience in international diplomacy, how do you see social media shaping our young minds' worldview and global awareness today?
First of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to again congratulate Madam Principal of the school for having achieved 25 years of it as an institution. But what I want to mention, in fact, is apart from the achievement, is also what the school has been doing in providing opportunity and space, especially to the marginalized of society. I think that is a very important part which you've done, and I must express appreciation for that. Now coming to the subject about the impact of social media on students, Well, for me, in fact, I think I've learned more from what listening to the other panelists, Madam Principal, psychologists. They were absolutely dealing directly with students. So I myself only have experience with my grandchildren. And of course, you have heard both the pros and cons, the plus and minus. Kaya ba bha, kaya ba snew ba mi ina kanika social media. My friend he said about the connectivity with the rest of the world, which is true. But I also find the saddest part is that there's a disconnect in my own family. My own children, grandchildren, they are busy with the phones and not with me. So I said, my debate with my own grandchildren is that, look, when we sit on a dining table, you should take the opportunity to talk to me. Because I'm even invited to talk to others. You people have no time to listen to me. So, in fact, my grandson, some time ago, he said, you know, we belong to Gen Z. I said, what is Gen Z? So he said, we have low attention span. So I asked him, what generation do I belong to? He said, you are a dinosaur. Now this, you know, I mean, it's humorous, but at the same time it reflects on where we are heading. Really, it's as Madam Psychologist mentioned, double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword. And the fact is that we cannot live without it also. The dilemma we are facing, I think another thing is, you know, another damage which really bothers me is the lack of reading of books, printed books. So really it's a very difficult question. And in the process, I must tell you about a poem by T.S. Eliot. Please note this. T.S. Eliot, he said, I'll just paraphrase it a little. He said, he talked about wisdom lost in knowledge. Knowledge lost in information. Okay? Now, information is getting lost in technology. We have an information overload now. I myself am suffering from it. On my phone, most of them I want to exit also. I thought if I exit also on the WhatsApp group, they'll feel hurt. So I just keep quiet. Everybody is forwarding left, right, and center. Adults are not doing it. And now this data is being used by, let's say, Facebook. It is known that Facebook sold those data to corporates and even political parties. And they come out with ads based on our psychology. They engineered those ads. So that is why you like to scroll. You know, if I buy something from Amazon, they know how to keep me going on it. I can go on Amazon. I myself buy a lot of things from Amazon. So you know. So this is the tragedy or the dilemma, but we cannot live without it at the same time. So my point is that we have to be conscious of this, number one, about how this data we are exposing ourselves to, that it's being sold, it's being exploited. And even let's say now, they say that even to get a politician, the more control on, you mentioned about algorithm, no? Somebody mentioned about algorithm. We are living in a world of algorithm. They manipulate our psychology. And then you will have, whoever has the resource to data and money, they are the people who are going to win elections. Simple as that. So you have more and more artificial ministers, artificial politicians, artificial president. You have today an artificial president going on in the world all everywhere. And he's controlling the world also. So this is a very dangerous phenomenon which is taking place. And even knowledge is getting more and more complicated with information overload and with technology. So again, my advice is, please take back to book reading. I said the other day also in one of the interview I gave. And please, you have to question, learn to maintain critical thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Ba Rudy. Like you mentioned, yes, social media has become a new reality. And menerupi gran halor kutuka jinglong jingman haying hasemong ngai tang haying jong pin re haman ka long yeng hi nge ka do ikani ka ju jing e ba ni ong ba ka social media kay rap ngi ban connect ba ki we gi brio ha ka leng so dong ka perthei henre habang pai ba che sha sem ngim don pol ba ni kren ni email pa la ni ki men ki para ni ki ba hayeng ba seng ba sem ru wat la dang ni sho ha ka ju ka mi ba te kita ki e jing kala bengi la saki ha ka ni ka ya ga menta te ngan ya che i ba khan ba na ka department ka jong pi ha do menta men ne de how many cases have the police registered cybercrime cases, and if you can cite one or two examples of such cases and also mention the kind of punishment that a violator or maybe a perpetrator, what are the different rules and kikindon ay gibadon pan pinchito may ginigibriwa pendon kam bakla ya ka board ka internet da ka ba pen wanda ka jing ting jing smith ha ka imlang ka salang.
I heard what Dr. Madam here, she was mentioning, the psychologist mentioned that it's like a double-edged sword. Social media is not bad. However, you have to use it in the right way. Okay? However, like coming to your question, we get a lot of cyber cases as days goes by now. Like around whole Meghalaya, we have received a complaint of around 4,000 approximately. That too just from 2019 onwards, not counting the years before that. And however, those complaints, the ones that are being registered are around 1,000 plus. Some of the cases that we have seen erupting in today's world are this digital arrest. In digital arrest, what they do is, some fraudsters will call a random victim here in Shillong, Meghalaya as a whole, and he will pretend to be a police officer from Delhi, from Mumbai, and then he will put on that uniform. They have that much courage that they put on the uniform and do video call with the victim and informing the victim that your name, the mobile number registered in your name has been misused here in Mumbai, here in Delhi, all right? Then misused in such a way that it is involved in black money, or sometimes they are involved in child pornography, which is very serious in nature. So people, they tend to get scared, right? A person in police uniform threatening you that some such things, such activities has been committed in your name. So they provide a solution for them. In order to come to a conclusion, you may be digitally arrested. But if you comply to what we say or what we demand, if it is a male victim, they usually demand for money. There are many things, many incidences that we have seen. Those are the most common.
Thank you so much, Ba. And I understand that 4,000 cases is not a small number, and there are many cases, like I think misinformation also would fall under cyber cases, right?
Yes.
Nangai bu na pre jong pi pilaju yo I ya gitu ki kubor mo ki ba mi na kapor halor ke jing pendar kambaklai ke social media ba pila kumi ong I sa menero ong ba ki don ki cases ba ki priu kin yalang perlok ba pi hang adin ka tu pede kin sapan pisa bre na pi namar ba ki ong ba ki syabat hang ni hang tai te ka jing kan tui ka long ya pi ba pin long ki ba husiang man peg yo ba pi ngop ha ki ni ki these traps mo ko ong iba rudi mana ki dalam ki ba start kin kan parang ti start ha kin pretend be kom ba ki dei ki brio na ketua company ban yo ban thok ya pi te ka ti tang ka jikan tu ba pin da pi penan kam ma kenai ka social media ro penan kam pi de ben start ko no penan kam tingin lek ben menta sha iba quote Freeman te ba quote as someone with influence how do you view your responsibility towards your young followers? But anum kran tang shapang ke jingkit clear kum u social media influencer nre ka jo ko poru kumulong ka pa.
Frankly speaking, Kong Ivan, I feel like I should be sitting there for two reasons. First is because all the information being shared by my co-panelists, they are extremely valuable for me, and I feel like I need to know more about all these things, though I do social media as a livelihood. And second, I feel like I'm the culprit because of me, you're watching. And I am contributing to content that we have in social media. So if you were asking me what social media is and what is social media is for me and how it affects, let's say, my younger followers, social media will only take you away from the real world. No matter how good it is, but it will take you away from the real world. You were asking me as a family man, as a father, Kongiban. I think you have witnessed this. We were colleagues for a very long time. Ever since my first son was born, I make sure that he does not have access to social media because I know that I deal with it every single day. And not only to know that it empowers people, but also to know that it can consume you if you're not careful. For me, for somebody like me as a content creator, not really as an influencer, but as a content creator, I should I should push content which is valuable, okay? And even for each and every one of you, if you want to be a content creator, maybe in the future, or even right now, if you are one, if you're trying to be one, please post, please push valuable content. Shnagi content kiba don jingmut, shnagi content kiba la banwan ra ikajing tela kim lang salang. Thank you, Kongiban.
Thank you so much, Pak Kod, and well, thì cũng bay ba Ferdi là ba tay mình ta ba nginang ya lang ba shibun ki jingkala kanika ya ka ba mình ta mo a generational change but kadika benta ka jangi bangindang kumno bandangi ya ringkat ba kata ka jingkala ringkat ka jingkit kli and i kren ru kindiat halor ki valuable content tani kita ki judge videos ke ba kum ki content creators ki pen mi ki badon jing mut lani ki balak ron rai ke jing kala ke em lang kasalang menta ngan ai la ye pi baro ba pin bo ki jing kali ke jong pi lani be pin ya sami ki jing shem ke jong pi. So I open this floor to an open discussion where you can ask your questions or you can express yourselves or you can share your stories or whatever you feel like. And if you want to ask any of our panelists any question, please feel free. Do not be shy. Use this opportunity, use this platform because this is your show.
My name is Amit Devnath. I am a co-founder and director for a software development firm. My question is for ma'am. I believe you're a psychologist, if I'm not mistaken. So, as a counselor or as a psychologist, what would you try to find out from an individual in terms of if someone is well deep into social media and into browsing and into the internet world?
Yes, I've had multiple cases where there are students who are trying hard to get out of this cycle, using social media on a daily basis and for hours, not just 3 or 4 or 5, but more than that. Well, the root cause, you've asked multiple questions, but let me go to the causation, then the treatment, then the impact, then the treatment. So the causation, social media, it's just something external. Addiction is just something to cope with something else. With something else. So it's just something external. We're saying impact of social media on students. We have to understand that it's something external that's happening to the students. But why are some students not addicted to it, and why are some students addicted to it? The crux of the issue is that there are emotional issues, psychological issues, and they use social media as a distraction.
My name is Yakman Lang, and my question is to Bakut. So my question is, when you see negative comments in your content, or comments that are not nice, how do you feel and how do you cope with them?
I think I'll keep it simple. I'll explain, but I'll keep it simple. There's a saying that goes, when life throws you lemon, you make lemonade. Right? When life throws you lemon, you make lemonade. Lada pisah kabang sojo, pisah sojo. Yes, I attracted a lot of positive comments when I started, because I started with giving out information on COVID-19 and all that, so people were supporting me and all that. But a few months down the line, I also attracted a lot of negative comments. So what I usually do is to create content out of that negative comment, and I used to get a lot of views and likes, you know. So so it's how it's how optimistic are you when it comes to the negativity that people throw at you in the comment section, because at the end of the day they do not know you.
My name is Emidaka Khardun. My question is, if we are very addicted to social media, how can we cope that in our life?
Well, you have to set a schedule, okay, for yourself. Scheduling is so important because then you know how much time you're going to spend in it. I'm not here to judge anyone for having an addiction. I'm not here to tell you to, delete all your apps or something. It's important that you use these apps for connection, but to also understand what's the purpose. So it's good. I hope the school have a counselor. If you do, then it's very good that you go to the counselor and talk about how to deal with this.
I would just like to add to that. Now, I don't know how many of you are really addicted to social media, because as a teacher, as an administrator, I don't see that you can have all that time. Okay, your syllabus is very vast, your curriculum is very huge. We know that there's a lot of, for students to study, to cover up your assignments, your tests, your unit tests, and a lot of more other activities, that you have to complete to cater to your curriculum. So somehow that question arises: how do you have time actually to scroll through social media? So what you can do is ask yourself: am I being productive today? Okay, what productive thing have I done today in terms of, especially in my studies? And we talk about social media, but how many of us knows about these online portals like Swayam and MOOCs? These are particularly, provided by the government, the ministry, okay, education department, for students to refer to make references when it comes to their courses. And you will find all the contents on all subjects.
I think because now we are seeing a decline in the number of students going, visiting the libraries and physically taking out a book and do a research, and you prefer doing online, Dr. Karshiyeng has provided a perfect alternative for you. So any more questions from you guys?
Good afternoon. My name is Emidaka Siangshai, and I have a question. How does excess use of social media affect our mental health?
Excess use of social media. Like we have discussed, when you use social media, there is something which is called social comparison. You start comparing your life to other people's life. And then there's also FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? You want to get engaged, you close a tab, you close an app, and you think, oh, what am I missing? Did I miss a like? Did I miss, anything did I miss a message? Like what he said, why is no one messaging me? Did I miss it? And you keep checking your phone, right? So based on all this, and sometimes even with doom scrolling, you tend to do it till late night and it affects your sleep. And if you look at all the causes of mental health issues, be it anxiety, depression, or anything, you'll always find lack of sleep as one of the causes. So that is how it affects. And when you don't have enough sleep, then you wake up in the morning and you can't concentrate and you can't go about your work, which leads you again to another cycle of neglecting your responsibilities as students.
Anyone will take 2 more questions.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mevante Lawai. As we talk about career counseling, I feel like yes, there is counseling everywhere, but as an entrepreneur, there's a saying that if you want to become a millionaire, you have to learn from a millionaire. And if the counselor is not running a business, and I'm going for counseling to someone like that, it won't help me at all. So at the end of the day, we end up going to social media only, searching for answers, and we tend to look up for someone who has done it. But many times, many times there are entrepreneurs who pretend to be entrepreneurs, who rent cars, who act, and then we end up buying the course, and it doesn't help at all. So what do we do in that case?
Thank you so much for that question. Very eye-opening, yes. But I think you're missing the point of counseling here. The point is for you to find yourself, not for us to lead you. We don't give advice, we only facilitate. Okay? So that's why I stressed on self-awareness.
I'm happy with your question, but the core thing is the mind in you, the mindset in you. Okay? And if you keep reading yourself, keep exploring, allow yourself to explore, you will come across, as Madam Councillor also mentioned, where you can take a decision which will help you. But be prepared, there's a trial and error. Be prepared to fail also in the process, okay? It's the risk you have to take.
Okay, I'm not going to preach. Okay, you should do this, you should do that. I'm not here to preach. Okay, because I think experience will come from you. What we do is we hear you. Okay, we listen to you. What does a career counselor do? He listens to the person. Okay, where is this ambition coming from? Where is this interest coming from? What has influenced you to make this decision? Okay, who were your role models? Okay, we discuss that. Okay, we see, and then we try and put you on a path, okay, to go further into that, provided that you still have that interest. Okay, and maybe whatever changes that you need to make to pursue that. So that is the role of the career counselor.
This is the feeling of almost everyone in the room right now. Let's just say the students, because why? I feel like you're representing the student community, which a lot of you are having a similar mindset. Why I'm saying so is because this is an era where we follow trends. So you do not want somebody to counsel you to be a millionaire. You just want somebody to look up to so that you can become like them. And that is the same problem with everyone. We just want to become like the influencers who have been influencing us. Kiba bun na pedeng jongi ngikwa bansu teneng lani bansu perthubut yakai ke binging yo iya social media. Lakalong ki model, ki supermodel, lakalong ki nonya bike. Bun bha ki khna menta ki kwa thit bike tang na kadao bi yo I ya ki social media influencer bi ki nya bike ha ki Instagram post ki jongki to dei nem ki kwa thit gears ki baram ki kwa thit bike kum gatu ki kwa camera bukum gitu, and that is influence bagi ki don ki influence pi, which is good in one way. Tamanre rockstar, yeah, of course. Tienre kani kalalong normal menta hapdeng jong ki klong khna hapdeng jong pi ba pi pin kwa lang kumbayo I ki way kumbale ki way. And mind you, if you still follow that, you will not land up anywhere. That's why it is now even more important that you reach out to the counselors. Kibala yo I ya ka perthei menchua, but kibala ban yo I ru ka perthei hadin ba pi pin shim ya ka jing sneng jing kantu naki khanang ba pila ban tip kumnu ba pi pila ban jam shakhba.
I have a question, and this question maybe every one of you can pitch in. What is the advice for parents, I feel, first? Then we can guide our children, I think so. So that's from me as a parent.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. Myself, Roshni Sinha. And as you are all professional here, I would actually say that you just said that, there are pros and cons in using social medias. But for me, actually, personally, I would say social media is absolutely a con for me because I recently just explored something. I actually I explore this, you know, you can earn through social medias. So I do used to watch podcasts and all. Those podcasts really influence me. They turn out myself. I'm actually shaping myself into such a wonderful person. So yeah, for me, social media is actually very
Helpful. Thank you. That is called responsible browsing. Responsible use of social media. I think we should give her a big round of applause. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, Purdy, we'll come to you.
So, coming to your question, ma'am, as lay people, if you ask me, as lay people, how do we help people, especially from the rural parts of, let's just say, of every other state here in India, to help them understand about social media? We can't. Unfortunately, we can't. Because the revolution, the internet revolution that we have now, came to us like a tsunami. We were caught off guard. We do not know what this is. The moment before knowing it, we have already started using it. I think it's very difficult for us to do so. But for somebody like the students here who can take back whatever that they've learned from school, from places like these, they can take back to their homes, to their places. For teachers or for professionals like so many others and the panelists here can contribute to the society in whichever way they can. I think that is how we can do it.
I think, yeah, each one of us has a role to play. Ngatarai ngilai wai school deh ngilai thai punya syong na do bene, and I do agree with, I don't know who said that, was it Baruti or Kong, but one of the panelists said that it's an age of information overload, so we don't want to overload you with information. I think that we'll have to wrap up this discussion today, but I do hope mga kermen bak ek bapi yo nang ni ki kubor la ni ki jehi kai pi yo ni pin ra sha yeng la ni ki parlok ki jong pi ki bam yo sngo but ban hi kai la ni ban yes share lang bat ki ya sam le bi ki ek bapi la yo manta te shwa bangin penkut ya kani ga jing ya ther ga jing ni jing ya kren ga jong ni ngakwa ban ai la ki panelists pakin ai ya I ki kubor ki jong ki their messages mo but ngakir pat bakin penlingkot iki messages ki jong pi.
Social media is not an enemy, it's a mirror. What you put in is what you get back. So make sure you put in your purpose, you express your purpose, and not your pressure, and not things that you think will only last for about a day or two. So with that, thank you so much.
My message to you is, now before you enter a house, you wipe your feet, right? I mean your shoes in the doormat. So before inserting a pen drive in your computer or anywhere, always scan it to find for viruses. So like we take bath every day, that is how you also clean your cookies, clean your history, your browsers and all every day. Okay? So like we need to sleep, we need to take rest. So also sometimes, at times, you have to switch off your phones. If you switch off your phones, this will improve your device. And then if there is any virus in the RAM, that will also be deleted. So that's my message. Thank you.
Thank you, Ba.
Well, after sitting here listening to these panelists, I have learned more about this whole subject of social media impact on students, or all of us, in fact, for that matter. Why students? All of us. Me as grandparent, parent, everything. So I'm learning new things. But why I say this, because I have traveled widely around the world. I work on all continents of the world. And in spite of that, I'm learning more. And so the key, I think, my message to you, if I have to give you a message, is please, I'll go back to what I said, please maintain this critical thinking in you. Allow yourself to think before what you do. You can social media, as all of us have said, good, bad, pros and cons, whatever it is, it helps, it doesn't help, and allow this critical thinking to apply itself every time you look at social media.
So the only message over here that I would like to, as a student per se, is that be careful, be aware, and do not post any wrong content, even if it's like, even if you think it's harmless, but at the end of the day, it does make an impact. So that is the thing that I have to impart and say that be positive, be healthy, be optimistic, and do not harm the feelings of others. Because at the end of the day, if you are dealt with the same feelings or the same thing against us, we feel bad. So before you do anything to anyone, think about what if the same thing had been done to you. How would you feel?
Thank you to all of you for being so attentive. I think it's been really long, and all the panelists out here, okay, for their valuable insights. Just 2-3 sentences from my end. First, number one is, it's not your fault. Okay? It is not your fault. Every old generation always blames the new generation. The youth is always a scapegoat. Right? This is a tsunami which came, as Coach Freeman said. We weren't prepared, but we have to live with it. Okay? How we live with it is how we manage it. That is more important. Right? Charity begins at home. So that is what I would say. Just be aware and be mindful of what you do in the online space.
I would just like to ask you, who do you think, with all these talk about influencers, who do you think is the most important influencer in your life? It's you. Okay, so what Sir Coach Freeman said, you are the mirror. It's you. What you put in, you get back. It's the algorithm. Like I said, when you talk about shoes, you find shoes. So be careful with the words that you use. Be careful with your emotions. Do not dwell on the negative too much. Try to find ways to let it out in a good way. Talk to professionals, talk to a friend if you have to. And I must applaud you. That's what I mentioned, passive and active using. And what she's doing is active using. Actively using social media for her growth. Okay? So the thing is, it's a double-edged sword, like I've mentioned before. The possibilities with social media is unlimited, but the possibility of it destroying you is also unlimited. So you must remember that.
All right. Keeping in mind what everybody has said, all right? Keep that in mind. And I would just like to add, as an educator myself, okay, dealing with students every day, I would like to ask you, in fact, this is a question that you will answer yourself. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Will browsing, engaging in social media lead you there? Okay? So that is my question, that I leave it to you. And another thing, develop hobbies, students. I think children nowadays lack that. The hobby of reading, do kitchen gardening, do cooking, baking. Boys, engage in some sports activities. So engage yourself in hobbies, all right? Productive hobbies that would help you. Okay? So this is my suggestion. I leave you with these words.
Thank you very much to each of our panelists for sharing their valuable insights with us, and for the students for participating, a parent and the teachers and staff of this school for engaging with the panelists. And like Robert said, let's make sure that we later in life, when we graduate, we don't graduate from WhatsApp University. We graduate from a real university with real learning, and like Rudy said, be a critical thinker. Di ngatai ka tung ina poisha bukut jong gani ka jingya kren ka jingya ther ka jingya mir jing mod ka jong ni, but kumbo ong iba kut ba, social media is not an enemy, nor is it a solution. It's a mirror. How it impacts our lives is how you choose to use social media. Begitu ngilo poish bukut jong gani ka jingya kren jong imentas ni, but sa shi sien nga ko aban ai kuble yaki panlis ki jong ibaro. Iba Kut, Iba Khan, Iba Rudy, Iba Sean, Iba Robert, Ikong Aibat, but I Dr. Rupa, ya kajingnya Shimbenta kejongki, but kajingnya Sam kejongki, itu kisempok berkat. But kam tam na kebenta ki kena pulih kejongni, hun samla kejongni, ki balai syashkor na do menne,
but kumjo ru sa shi sien ka ban ai khuble ye madam principal but ka school ru kumjo ki bla ai la yang ni bangin ye belong ye ka program but ban ye collaborate ban ni halor ka ni ka benta ti khuble ka por jong phi baro